the others. The book begins with a major athletic event in my life, which was called the Around the Island Swim. And this is a major professional event in Atlantic City, New Jersey. It's a 22.5-mile swim. It goes through a couple inlets. It's in the ocean. It's in the bay. And truly, it was the hardest athletic event I've ever been involved in my life. And I've been in some pretty heavy athletic events. And this took me beyond any place I've ever been before in my life. The pain was incredible. The water was cold. I was throwing up. I was down to like 50, 60 strokes a minute. And between miles 8 and 14, there was no way I was going to finish this race. I was in pain that I've never felt before in my life. Psychologically, there was just this massive resistance to what the body was going through. And I thought it was over. And then around mile 14, something began to happen that never happened to me before in my life. And I began to feel this sense of warm energy, warm support for what my mental processes were at that moment. I began to feel lighter again, and I couldn't believe it because I was having almost like a near-death experience. And this energy came up from my pelvis, and all I could describe it was just this golden light. And it came up through my body into my brain, and all of a sudden, this superhuman nuclear power came to my thought process, and my strokes came back up to 90 to 100 strokes a minute, and from mile 14 to 22.5, something greater than me turned on, and I was in the ride of my life. I was moving through this water, or the water was moving through me, but I tapped into a whole nother potential platform for us, not only for me to interact with myself, but how I can interact with the world. And that Around the Island Swim was a major turning point for me, because at that point I was kind of a Western jock athlete. I was the shit. You know, I was the real deal. No one was up there with me. Everything had to be just right. And I didn't have any awareness of the Eastern arts. And after the swim, I was in bed for about 3 weeks. I just couldn't even move, and something turned on in me, and relationships began to change, and old relationships began to fall away, and I began to meet some folks that were involved in the Eastern arts, and I began to notice my physical body was extremely tight. I'd never stretched before in my life. I had no awareness of breathing. I didn't know what meditation or concentration, focus was, and I began to come around. Very slowly, the universe was showing me a new circle or a new arena of awareness to hang around. And at first, I came into it very competitively. I was like, I wanted to, touch the toes or be the most flexible person, or look the best in the yoga postures or whatever type of movement we were doing, Tai Chi, etc. And so I was kind of coming at it from the wrong end of the seesaw. And then all of a sudden, I discovered this science of breath. And as an athlete, I'm an energy junkie, so I really enjoy the kinesiology, the way the body makes me feel. I'm a visual learner. And I tapped into some of these breath sciences that come to us from the yoga tradition. It's called pranayama. And I was amazed at how high I could get adding the pranayama into traditional Western exercise. And I knew immediately, the first day I went to the gym, I was pressed for time, and I was aggravated from a long day at the office, and I had a commitment. I only had about 20 minutes for myself, because my workout time is my time, and I need that time to really feel my day. So I began to think, what if I added the yogic breathing, the Eastern breathing, into the Western workout? And immediately I knew I tapped into a deep source, and I began to find that the breath could really add a whole nother concept and strategy without the traditional wear and tear that I would normally be putting on my body. So as a broken athlete, finding ways to get dynamic workouts without the traditional wear and tear and compression was huge to me. And I was off on this mission where I was going to go change the world. I was going to be, the #1 athlete in the world that was going to bring in yoga strategies, and I was going to be the #1 yogi to bring that into athletics. And, the universe had other ideas. It takes time for a book like this to come to the surface. It's taken about, 10 years for this mission or this platform to go out into the masses. But Life with Breath is going to give you the tools, #1, to remain centered and use the least amount of energy as possible as you go through your challenges, whether they're relationship challenges, whether they're emotional challenges, whether they're intellectual challenges, or trying to get the right answer and have the right formulas, whether it's an athletic challenge or a revenue challenge at work. The breath is an amazing tool to take you deeper into your heart. And we live in an amazing time where we're beginning to discover that the heart's in charge. You know, I have nothing against mental repetition and memorization and execution like that, but you know, we're coming at life more now with how do you feel about something? And that can be both good or bad, but the feeling gives you the ability to authenticate your thinking. So when I began to add breath into my exercise routines, I began to see, you know what, I can bring this into my corporate routines and my corporate clients. And we began to see major shifts take place in how businesses operate because communication was improved, relationships were improved, there was less trauma, and customer service goes way up when we feel pretty good about ourselves. So during the 30-day program, you're going to discover diaphragmatic breathing, how to breathe through your throat so you're getting a long, slow, deep inhale and exhale, strengthening the muscles of inhale and exhale of your respiratory system so the cardiovascular system is under less stress. And when the cardiovascular system is under less stress, you're going to distribute more oxygen through your body. And the more oxygen you can deliver into your cells, the less chance that you'll have cancer. The more we circulate oxygen, the more you'll burn inflammation, you'll burn fat, and fats impair the distribution of oxygen. So circulation and inflammation reduction are huge in regard to inhale and exhale and optimizing those opportunities. Learning skillful ways to take the breath away from the mind and almost retame the mind like a puppy so that you're in control of the mind. The mind's not in control of you. Learning how to bring energy levels up very quickly with fast breathing is another amazing tool to cool off the two prefrontal cortexes, get us more in the top of the brainstem where the hippocampus is. And as adults, all new learnings or neuroplasticity come from an awareness of the hippocampus. So getting into the deeper part of the center of the brain, just above the brainstem, is huge in regard to your personal awareness. And personal awareness and accountability are key to happiness, self-esteem, great concepts, and staying grounded in life. So after the 30-day program, I guarantee you how you view yourself and how you view the world and how the world views you, everything is going to change. Your heart and chest are going to open. And when your heart's open, there is no better human experience than that. And Life with Breath is a major self-help book for all of us to improve ourselves individually and collectively. All of us come together in this human tribe and make the planet better for the next generation. I hope you enjoy the book, and I look forward to hearing from you.